My beloved brothers and sisters, Ramadan is a month that comes with mercy, forgiveness, and countless opportunities. But within this blessed month, there is a period that is even more special, more powerful, and more valuable than the rest. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are not normal nights. They are not ordinary evenings where we simply eat, sleep, and continue with our routines. These nights are filled with a level of mercy and blessings that many people fail to recognize. Think about it for a moment. Throughout the entire year, we make mistakes, we fall into sin, we forget our purpose, and sometimes we become distant from our Creator. Yet Allah, in His infinite mercy, gives us Ramadan as a chance to return. And then within Ramadan itself, He gives us the last 10 nights as a final opportunity. It is as though Allah is reminding us that no matter how our Ramadan started, we still have a chance to finish strong. These nights carry unique status. They are not like the rest of the nights in the year. Within them lies a night that is greater than 1,000 months. 1,000 months is more than 80 years. Imagine performing an act of worship on a single night and receiving the reward as if you had worshipped for more than 80 years. That is something beyond human calculation. That is the generosity of Allah. Many people spend their lives chasing opportunities in this world. If someone hears about a business opportunity that could multiply their wealth, they will stay awake all night working for it. If someone knows an exam could determine their entire future, they will sacrifice sleep to prepare for it. Yet when the greatest opportunity of all arrives, some people treat it like any other night. Among the last 10 nights is Laylat al-Qadr, the night of power. It is the night when the Quran was revealed. It is the night when the angels descend with mercy and peace until the break of dawn. It is the night when prayers are accepted, sins are forgiven, and destinies can change. No one knows exactly which night it is. And that itself is a wisdom. Because if we knew the exact night, many of us would only worship on that single night. Instead, we are encouraged to search for it throughout the last 10 nights. When we look at the example of the Prophet ﷺ, we find something remarkable. His entire life was already filled with worship, devotion, and sincerity. Yet when the last 10 nights of Ramadan arrived, he increased his efforts even more. He stayed awake in prayer. He woke his family so they would not miss these blessed moments. He tightened his dedication and focused completely on worship. This teaches us an important lesson. If someone who was already so close to Allah took these nights so seriously, what about us? We are the ones who need forgiveness. We are the ones who have committed mistakes. We are the ones who have committed mistakes. We are the ones who desperately need Allah's mercy. These nights are not meant to be wasted on distractions, endless scrolling, or treating them like any other evening. The last 10 nights are a final opportunity for forgiveness. Perhaps someone started Ramadan with strong intentions but lost momentum halfway through. Perhaps someone struggled to pray regularly or found it difficult to stay consistent with their worship. These nights are a reminder that the door is still open. Allah does not look at how you started. He looks at how sincere you are when you return to Him. Sometimes people feel that their sins are too many. They feel that they are too far away, that they have made too many mistakes to be forgiven. But the mercy of Allah is greater than every sin we have ever committed. One sincere moment of repentance can erase years of wrongdoing. One tear shed in the darkness of the night can bring a person closer to Allah than they have ever been before. During these nights, the heart has the chance to be revived. Many of us go through the year with hearts that feel heavy. The stress of life, the distractions of the world, and the constant noise around us can slowly distance us from our spirituality. But when a person stands in prayer in the quiet of the night, when they raise their hands and speak sincerely to Allah, something changes inside them. These moments remind us of who we truly are. They remind us that our purpose is not just to chase worldly success. Our purpose is to build a relationship with the one who created us. And sometimes it is in the silence of the night when everyone else is asleep that the heart finally finds peace. The beauty of these nights is that the acts of worship do not have to be complicated. It can be a sincere dawah. It can be reciting a few pages of the Quran. It can be asking Allah for forgiveness with genuine humility. What matters is sincerity. What matters is turning to Allah with a heart that truly wants to change. As these nights pass, Ramadan slowly begins to leave us. And this is a powerful reminder. Every year Ramadan comes and goes, but we do not know if we will witness the next one. For some people, this Ramadan is their last. For others, these final nights are the last opportunity they will have to seek forgiveness before they return to their Creator. Imagine standing before Allah one day and remembering that you had the chance to worship during the most powerful nights of the year. Imagine realizing that the opportunity was there, but it was ignored. That thought alone should motivate us to take these nights seriously. So do not treat these nights as normal nights. Do not let them pass like every other evening. Stay awake a little longer in prayer. Speak to Allah with sincerity. Ask Him to forgive your past, guide your future, and grant your heart that remains connected to Him even after Ramadan ends. Because the last 10 nights of Ramadan are not ordinary nights, they are nights of forgiveness. Nights of forgiveness. Nights of transformation. And for the one who truly seeks Allah during these nights, they can become the turning point that changes their life forever. When the last 10 nights of Ramadan arrive, something extraordinary begins to unfold. These nights are not ordinary, and they were never meant to be treated like the rest of the year. Allah, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, chose these nights and filled them with blessings that cannot be measured by human understanding. While every moment of Ramadan carries reward and mercy, the final 10 nights carry a unique status that elevates them far above the rest. Many people go through life searching for special moments, moments that could change everything for them. They wait for opportunities that could transform their future. Yet every year Allah gives the believers a period of time that is more valuable than anything they could ever imagine. The last 10 nights are a gift, a divine opportunity placed in the calendar of our lives so that we can return to Allah with sincerity. These nights are filled with mercy, forgiveness, and reward beyond calculation. So the reward beyond calculation. Imagine being given a chance where even the smallest act of worship can multiply into something enormous. A sincere dua whispered in the darkness of the night. A tear shed out of regret. A few verses of the Quran recited with reflection. These actions may seem small to us, but with Allah, they can become something immense. Sometimes we underestimate the generosity of our Creator. We think that our small acts are insignificant, but Allah does not look at the size of the action. He looks at the sincerity behind it. During these nights, even a simple moment of turning back to Allah can open doors of mercy that a person never imagined possible. There is also something deeply spiritual about the quiet of these nights. During the day, life is filled with noise and distraction. Responsibilities, work, conversations, and countless worldly matters compete for our attention. But when the night arrives and the world begins to slow down, a different atmosphere takes over. The silence of the night creates space for the heart to reconnect with its Creator. This is why these nights are so powerful. They allow the believer to step away from the distractions of the world and focus completely on what truly matters. Standing in prayer while the rest of the world sleeps creates a moment of sincerity that is difficult to experience at any other time. In those quiet moments, a person realizes how small they are and how great the mercy of Allah truly is. The unique status of these nights is also a reminder of how much Allah wants to forgive His servants. Think about it carefully. Allah did not just give us Ramadan as a chance to seek forgiveness. He placed within Ramadan a special set of nights where the opportunity for forgiveness becomes even greater. It is as though Allah is calling His servants again and again, inviting them to return before it is too late. For many people, life can feel overwhelming. Mistakes pile up, regrets grow heavier, and sometimes a person begins to feel distant from Allah. But these nights come as a powerful reminder that the door of mercy is never closed. No matter how far someone has gone, no matter how many times they have fallen, Allah's mercy is always greater. These nights carry a sense of urgency as well. Ramadan, do. Not stay forever, it arrives, stays for a short while, and then leaves. The last 10 nights are a reminder that time itself is limited. The opportunities we are given today may not be there tomorrow. That is why the wise believer sees these nights as something precious, something that should never be wasted. Every moment in these nights is valuable. Every prayer, every word of remembrance, every sincere supplication adds something to the scale of good deeds. Even the intention to change can be powerful when it is made sincerely during these blessed nights. When a believer understands the true value of these nights, their perspective changes completely. Sleep becomes less important, distractions lose their attraction, and the heart begins to long for the moments spent in worship. Because deep down, the soul recognizes that these nights carry something special, something rare, something that cannot be replaced. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are not just another part of the month. They are a divine invitation, a sacred window of opportunity where the mercy of Allah descends in ways that we cannot fully comprehend. For the one who understands their value, these nights can become the beginning of a completely new chapter in life. Among the last 10 nights of Ramadan lies a night so powerful, so extraordinary, that its value cannot be compared to any other night in the entire year. It is the night known as Laylatul Qadr, the night of power. This is not just a night filled with blessings. It is a night that has the potential to transform a person's life, their future, and even their eternal destiny. When we hear that this night is better than 1,000 months, we must pause and truly reflect on what that means. 1,000 months is more than 80 years. For many people, that is longer than an entire lifetime. Imagine performing a single act of worship on one nen, white and receiving a reward greater than worship performed continuously for over 80 years. This is something beyond human understanding. It is a gift from Allah that shows the depth of His generosity and mercy. Think about how people in this world chase opportunities that promise wealth or success. If someone hears about a job that could earn them a lifetime of income in a single night, they would not sleep, they would prepare, they would work, and they would give everything they have to take advantage of that opportunity. Yet Laylatul Qadr offers something infinitely greater than worldly wealth. It offers rewards that will benefit a person not just in this life, but in the life that lasts forever. The beauty of this night is that Allah did not reveal its exact date. It is hidden within the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Some may wonder why such a powerful night is not clearly identified, but there is wisdom behind this. If the exact night were known, many people would worship only on that one night and neglect the others. Instead, by hiding it among the last 10 nights, believers are encouraged to seek it with effort, sincerity, and consistency. Searching for Laylatul Qadr creates a sense of dedication. It encourages believers to spend multiple nights in prayer, reflection, and remembrance. It pushes a person to stay connected with Allah for a longer period rather than focusing on just one moment. In doing so, the believer develops a deeper relationship with their Creator. Another powerful aspect of Laylatul Qadr is the atmosphere that surrounds it. It is described as a night filled with peace until the break of dawn. The angels descend during this night with mercy and blessings. The entire night becomes an opportunity for prayers to be accepted and sins to be forgiven. It is a moment when the heavens are open for those who sincerely turn back to Allah. For some, Ian, who has made many mistakes, this night is a chance to begin again. A person may carry regrets from the past, memories of wrong choices, or the weight of sins that they wish they could erase. Laylatul Qadr offers the opportunity to wipe the slate clean. A sincere prayer during this night can erase years of mistakes. A genuine moment of repentance can completely change the direction of a person's life. But the key to benefiting from this night is sincerity. It is not about how long a person stands in prayer or how many words they say. What matters most is the state of the heart. A person who turns to Allah with humility, acknowledging their weakness and sincerely asking for forgiveness, can receive blessings that cannot be measured. These nights are also a reminder that time itself is precious. Opportunities like Laylatul Qadr come only once a year, and none of us are guaranteed that we will live to see the next Ramadan. This realization should create a sense of urgency within the believer. It should motivate us to take these nights seriously and not allow them to pass without making the most of them. When a believer understands the significance of Laylatul Qadr, their attitude towards the last 10 nights changes completely. Sleep becomes less important than prayer. Distractions lose their value. The heart begins to long for those quiet moments of worship where a person stands before their Creator with hope, humility, and faith. Laylatul Qadr is not just a night of reward. It is a night of transformation. It is a night where destinies can change, hearts can be purified, and lives can be redirected toward what truly matters. For the one who seeks it sincerely, it can become the most meaningful night they will ever experience. When we want to understand the importance of something in our faith, one of the best places to look is the example of the Prophet ﷺ. His life was the perfect example of how a believer should live, worship, and connect with Allah. When it came to the last 10 nights of Ramadan, his actions showed clearly that these nights were not ordinary. Even though his entire life was filled with worship, devotion, and sincerity, he increased his efforts even more during these final nights. It is reported that when the last 10 nights of Ramadan began, the Prophet ﷺ would tighten his waistcloth, spend the night in worship, and awaken his family so they could also take part in the blessings of these nights. This shows us something very powerful. If someone who was already the most devoted servant of Allah still increased his worship during these nights, then it tells us that these nights carry an extraordinary value. Think about it for a moment. The Prophet ﷺ was already someone who prayed regularly, remembered Allah constantly, and lived every moment with complete awareness of his Creator. Yet when the last 10 nights arrived, he did not treat them the same as the rest of Ramadan. Instead, he dedicated himself even more to prayer, supplication, and reflection. There is a deep lesson in this example. Many of us believe that if we have already done some worship during Ramadan, that might be enough. We may feel satisfied with the effort we have made during the first part of the month. But the example of the Prophet ﷺ teaches us that the last 10 nights are the time to increase our efforts, not decrease them. Sometimes people begin Ramadan with great enthusiasm. The first few days feel exciting, the prayers feel powerful, and the motivation is strong. But as the month continues, the energy begins to fade. The routine of daily life returns, and some people begin to lose the momentum they started with. The last 10 nights are a reminder that the end of Ramadan is not the time to slow down. It is the time to push on. Ourselves even more. Another important part of the Prophet's example is that he encouraged his family to participate as well. He did not keep the blessings of these nights to himself. He woke up his household so that they could pray, remember Allah, and seek forgiveness together. This teaches us that these nights are not only a personal opportunity, but also a family opportunity. In many homes today, people focus heavily on preparing meals for sahur or organizing gatherings. But sometimes the spiritual aspect of these nights is forgotten. The example of the Prophet ﷺ reminds us that the real preparation for these nights should be spiritual preparation. Encouraging family members to pray, making dua together, and reminding one another of the blessings of these nights can transform the atmosphere of the home. His example also shows the importance of dedication. The phrase about tightening the waistcloth reflects seriousness and commitment. It means that when these nights arrived, he prepared himself mentally and spiritually to make the most of them. There was a clear shift in focus. The distractions of the world were pushed aside so that worship could take priority. For us, this means making conscious choices during these nights. It means choosing prayer over unnecessary entertainment. It means choosing reflection over distraction. It means dedicating time to recite the Quran, to make sincere dua, and to ask Allah for forgiveness with humility. When we follow this example, something beautiful begins to happen. The nights that once felt ordinary begin to feel meaningful. The quiet moments spent in prayer begin to bring peace to the heart. The act of waking up for worship while others sleep creates a powerful connection between the believer and their Creator. The example of the Prophet ﷺ is not just a historical story, it is a guide for how we should approach these nights today. His dedication reminds us that these nights are a rare opportunity, and opportunities like this should never be taken lightly. When we reflect on his actions, we realize that the last 10 nights are meant to be treated with urgency, sincerity, and devotion. They are a time to reconnect with Allah, to seek forgiveness for our shortcomings, and to fill our hearts with hope for His mercy. By following this example, the believer begins to understand that these nights are not simply a continuation of Ramadan. They are the most precious part of the entire month, and they are meant to be approached with a level of seriousness that reflects their true value. The last 10 nights of Ramadan arrive like a final window of mercy, a powerful reminder that the door of forgiveness is still open, no matter how many mistakes a person has made. Throughout the year, people often carry the weight of their sins and regrets. Sometimes those mistakes feel so heavy that a person begins to believe they are too far from Allah to return. But these nights come as a message of hope, reminding every believer that Allah's mercy is far greater than any sin they could ever commit. Human beings are not perfect. We all fall into error at times. There are moments when we say things we should not have said, times when we neglect our responsibilities, and times when we forget our purpose in life. Over time, these mistakes can create a sense of distance between a person and their creator. Shaitan often uses this feeling to make people believe that there is no point in trying to return, whispering that their sins are too many and their past is too dark. But the last 10 nights of Ramadan shatter that illusion completely. They remind us that Allah is the most forgiving, the most merciful. His mercy is not limited and His forgiveness does not run out. No matter how many times a person soul, and the moment they sincerely turn back to Allah, they find that the door of forgiveness is still wide open. These nights are a final opportunity within Ramadan itself. Some people may have started the month with strong intentions, but struggle to stay consistent. Perhaps the first days of Ramadan were filled with motivation. But as the days passed, distractions returned and the energy slowly faded. The last 10 nights serve as a reminder that it is never too late to turn things around. In many ways, these nights are like a final call before the month ends. It is as though Allah is giving His servants one more chance to seek His mercy before Ramadan departs. This should fill the believer with both hope and urgency. Hope because forgiveness is still possible. Urgency because these opportunities do not last forever. One of the most beautiful aspects of these nights is that forgiveness does not require perfection. A person does not need to have a flawless past or a perfect record of worship. What Allah asks for is sincerity. A heart that genuinely regrets its mistakes and truly wants to change is beloved in the sight of Allah. Sometimes a single moment of sincere repentance can be more powerful than years of routine worship performed without reflection. When a person stands in the quiet of the night and speaks to Allah honestly, admitting their weaknesses and asking for forgiveness, that moment can transform their entire spiritual journey. These nights also encourage believers to reflect on their lives. When the world becomes quiet and distractions fade, it becomes easier to look inward. A person begins to think about the choices they have made, the relationships they have neglected, and the opportunities they have missed. But instead of feeling hopeless about the past, the believer is reminded that the future can still be different. The act of asking for forgiveness is not just about erasing sins. It is about rebuilding the connection between the servant and their creator. Each sincere prayer, each tear of regret, and each heartfelt supplication becomes a step towards spiritual renewal. The last 10 nights teach us that Allah wants to forgive His servants. If He did not want to forgive us, He would not create these opportunities. He would not fill certain nights with multiplied rewards and endless mercy. The existence of these nights is itself proof of how much Allah loves to forgive those who return to Him. For the believer who takes advantage of these nights, the result can be life-changing. A person who enters the last 10 nights carrying the burden of their past can leave them feeling lighter, hopeful, and spiritually renewed. The heart that once felt distant can rediscover closeness to Allah. This is why these nights should never be taken lightly. They're a gift that may not come again. None of us know how many Ramadans we have left in our lives. For some people, this Ramadan may be their last opportunity to seek forgiveness before they meet their Creator. So the wise believer approaches these nights with sincerity and humility. They raise their hands in prayer, they ask Allah to forgive their past, and they promise to strive for a better future. And in that moment of sincerity, they discover something truly beautiful, that the mercy of Allah was always waiting for them to return. The last 10 nights of Ramadan carry a unique ability to awaken something deep within the human heart. Throughout the year, life moves quickly. Responsibilities, worries, ambitions, and endless distractions often consume our attention. In the middle of all this noise, the heart can slowly become distant from its true purpose. A person may still go through the motions of daily life, but spiritually they may feel empty or disconnected. These blessed nights arrive as an opportunity to revive that heart and bring it back to life through sincere worship and remembrance of Allah. There is something special about the quiet hours of the night. During the day, the world is busy and full of activity. People are working, traveling, speaking, and rushing from one responsibility to another. But when the night falls and most people go to sleep, the atmosphere changes. The silence of the night creates a moment where a believer can stand before their Creator without distraction. In that quiet moment when the world is asleep, a person begins to feel a deeper connection with Allah. Standing in prayer during these nights can have a powerful effect on the heart. When a believer recites the Quran slowly, reflecting on its meaning, it reminds them of their purpose in life. The Quran speaks about guidance, patience, gratitude, and the reality of the hereafter, as those words enter the heart, they begin to soften it. A heart that may have become hardened by the pressures of life slowly begins to feel humility again. Dua also plays a powerful role in reviving the heart during these nights. When a person raises their hands and speaks directly to Allah, something deeply personal happens. In that moment, a person is not speaking to the world or trying to impress anyone. They are speaking to the one who knows every secret, every fear, and every hidden hope inside them. This honesty and supplication brings comfort and peace that cannot be found anywhere else. For many people, the last 10 nights become a time of reflection. A person begins to think about their life, their actions, and the direction they are heading. They may remember moments when they felt closer to Allah and realize how much they missed that feeling. This reflection can create a sincere desire to change, to become a better person, and to rebuild the their relationship with their Creator. Repentance during these nights can be especially powerful. When someone sincerely asks Allah for forgiveness, they are not just seeking to erase their sins, they are seeking to purify their heart. Every sincere act of repentance removes a burden from the soul. The guilt that once weighed heavily on a person begins to fade, replaced by hope and relief. Remembrance of Allah, even through simple phrases, can also bring life back to the heart. Words of praise, gratitude, and glorification may seem small, but they carry immense spiritual power. Repeating these words slowly and thoughtfully reminds a person of Allah's greatness and mercy. It helps shift the focus away from worldly worries and toward the eternal reality of the hereafter. Another beautiful aspect of these nights is the feeling of sincerity that develops when a person worships while others are asleep. When someone wakes up during the night purely for the sake of Allah, it shows a level of dedication that strengthens faith. Those moments of worship are not done for recognition or praise. They are done purely out of love and hope for Allah's mercy. Over time, these acts of worship begin to transform the heart. The person who once felt spiritually distant starts to feel a renewed sense of closeness. The prayers become more meaningful, the Quran feels more powerful, and the connection with Allah grows stronger. The revival of the heart is one of the greatest gifts these nights can offer. When the heart is alive with faith, it changes the way a person sees the world. Challenges become easier to face, gratitude becomes stronger, and life begins to feel more purposeful. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are not just about performing acts of worship, they are about renewing the soul. They are about returning to Allah with sincerity and allowing the heart to rediscover the peace that comes from remembering its Creator. For the believer who truly embraces these nights, the transformation that begins in the heart can continue long after Ramadan has ended. As the last 10 nights of Ramadan arrive, a powerful realization begins to settle in the hearts of believers. This blessed month is slowly coming to an end. It feels as though Ramadan just began, yet suddenly we find ourselves in its final moments. This is one of the most important reminders that these nights bring with them, the reminder that time moves quickly and opportunities do not last forever. Every year Ramadan comes as a guest filled with mercy, blessings and forgiveness. For 30 days, believers are given the chance to reconnect with Allah, to purify their hearts and to correct the direction of their lives. But just like every guest, Ramadan eventually leaves. The last 10 nights are the final moments before that departure, and they carry a deep message for those who reflect. Many people start Ramadan with excitement and strong intentions. The first nights are filled with energy. People pray more, read the Quran more, and feel spiritually motivated. But as the days pass, routines begin to return, responsibilities of daily life take over again. And sometimes the initial enthusiasm fades. This is exactly why the last 10 nights are so important. They serve as a final chance to revive that motivation and finish the month with strength. Think about any important journey. What people often remember most is how it ends. The ending leaves the strongest impression. The same can be true for Ramadan. Even if someone struggled earlier in the month, the last 10 nights give them the chance to end their Ramadan in the most beautiful way. These nights are a reminder that what matters most is not how perfectly we began, but how sincerely we finish. A person who may have missed opportunities earlier still has the chance to turn things around. Allah's mercy does not close halfway through Ramadan. In fact, during these final nights, the opportunities become even greater. There is also a deeper lesson hidden in the ending of Ramadan. It reminds us about the temporary nature of life itself. just as Ramadan arrives and then leaves, our lives follow a similar path. Time moves forward quickly and none of us truly know how much time we have left. One day we will look back on our lives the same way we look back on Ramadan, wondering whether we made the most of the opportunities we were given. For some people, this Ramadan may be their last. Last year there were many people fasting with us who are no longer here today. They also had plans, hopes and intentions for the future, but their time came sooner than they expected. This realization should not fill us with fear, but rather with motivation. It should encourage us to make the most of the moments we still have. The last 10 nights are therefore not just about worship, they are about awareness. Awareness that time is precious. Awareness that opportunities to earn forgiveness and reward are rare. Awareness that every moment we spend in sincere worship can bring us closer to Allah and prepare us for the life that comes after this one. During these nights, a believer begins to value every moment differently. Staying awake a little longer in prayer suddenly feels worthwhile. Spending extra time reciting the Quran feels meaningful. Raising the hands in dawah and asking Allah for guidance, forgiveness and blessings becomes a moment of deep sincerity. These nights also give us the chance to make sincere intentions for the future. Ramadan should not simply be a temporary burst of spirituality that disappears once the month ends. Instead, it should become a turning point. The habits built during Ramadan, pray, remembrance, patience, generosity should continue long after the month has passed. When a believer truly understands the value of these final nights, they refuse to let them slip away unnoticed. They recognize that these moments are precious gifts that may never return again in the same way. Every prayer offered, every verse recited, and every sincere supplication becomes an investment in their eternal future. As Ramadan prepares to leave, the last 10 nights stand as a final invitation from Allah. An invitation to seek forgiveness, to strengthen faith, and to leave the month spiritually stronger than when it began. For the one who takes this invitation seriously, these nights can become the most meaningful part of the entire month. They become the moments that transform regret into hope, weakness into strength, and distance from Allah into a renewed connection that can last far beyond Ramadan. As we reach the end of this reflection on the last 10 nights of Ramadan, one truth becomes clear. These nights are not ordinary and they are not to be taken lightly. They are a unique gift from Allah, filled with mercy, forgiveness and opportunities that can transform a person's life both in this world and the hereafter. Within them lies al-Qadr, a night better than 1,000 months, a night where sincere worship, dua and repentance can erase the past and shape the future. The Prophet ﷺ showed us the example of how to honor these nights, increasing his worship, dedicating time for prayer and awakening his family to join him in seeking Allah's blessings. His example reminds us that no matter how close we are or how far we feel from Allah, these nights are a chance to strengthen our connection and revive our hearts. They remind us that no matter our past mistakes, the door of forgiveness remains wide open for those who turn back sincerely. These nights also teach the importance of urgency and mindfulness. Ramadan is fleeting and the last 10 nights are the final opportunity to make the month count. Every moment spent in sincere worship, reflection or remembrance carries immense reward and brings the heart closer to Allah. It is a time to step away from distractions, to prioritize our relationship with our Creator, and to leave this month spiritually renewed. Ultimately, the last 10 nights are a call to action, a reminder that time is precious and mercy is abundant. They encourage us to embrace sincerity, humility and devotion in our worship, to seek forgiveness with an open heart, and to strive for a lasting transformation that continues long after Ramadan ends. For those who recognize their value, these nights can be life-changing, filling the heart with peace, hope and renewed faith, a faith that guides us not only through the rest of Ramadan, but through every day of our lives.